It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Welcome. Thanks for being here. All right, so the shutdown. You had the largest government employees union on the federal level yesterday. The head of that, actually 2 days ago, come out and state that the shutdown needs to end now. Mm-hmm. Clean, continuing resolution, pass it. Here's the head of the National Air Traffic Controllers Association, President Nick Daniels, yesterday on the shutdown.
Day in, day out, that's now the life of an air traffic controller. The people tasked with making the impossible possible are having it made impossible by not paying them again. So the message is simple. In the shutdown today, there is no excuse that these hardworking men and women are showing up to do this job and to not ever know when they're going to get paid again. So we need America's help. We need you to stand up, and we need you to say enough is enough in this shutdown and ensure that we can move this forward, because we do not want to be up here telling you the sad stories. We want to be up here telling you how we're moving this system forward, how we're bringing in more air traffic controllers than ever, how we're modernizing this system to, serve the American people. So, again, cannot stress enough. If you want to take action, contact your congressional representative and tell them in the shutdown today.
Meanwhile, the politics of it. CNN looking at the latest polling on it. Here we go.
All right. Starting with Republicans. How has the shutdown seemed to have affected their political standing?
Yeah, you might think, given that the Republicans are in charge of both the House and the Senate, that a government shutdown might actually hurt the Republican brand. But in fact, it hasn't. If anything, it's been helped a little bit. Take a look here, the shift in net popularity versus pre-shutdown. When we're looking at the Republican Party overall, that brand actually up 2 points. That's within the margin of error, but clearly it hasn't dropped. Come over to this side of the screen. Look at the net approval ratings for Republicans in Congress. It's actually up 5 points since pre-shutdown. So what we're seeing here is the Republican brand in Congress has actually improved somewhat compared to where we were pre-shutdown, despite the fact that Republicans control. And that's the math that John Thune and Mike Johnson are looking at is, well, hey, why should we give, electorally speaking, when our brand has actually improved a little bit?
There you go, Harry Enton yesterday on CNN.
Yeah,
and it's very easy to explain, as we have said, and they keep repeating the same talking points, which they should repeat the same talking points, which is look, we put through a clean resolution. Look, the truth is, they're actually putting through what the Biden spending. This is still extending the Biden spending.
Yeah.
This isn't Republican spending. Now, they're saying it is Republican spending because even though it's what Biden put in, since Republicans approved it, then it becomes Republicans. But the point is, it is at the spending levels that Democrats wanted under Biden.
Right.
And there doesn't just seem to be much of a concern, as we explained earlier, and actually had Democrat Julian Epstein and his op-ed piece he wrote in the New York Post saying healthcare isn't an issue here. This isn't resonating with Americans at all. And according to Harry Enton, the polling that they see shows that Republicans are actually doing better. Because it's not hard to explain the filibuster to people. These aren't hard concepts to explain.
Right.
And you say, well, no, every Republican, except for Rand Paul, is voting for it, and every Democrat's voting against it. Well, not every now.
How many times has that been written in news publications? Every Republican in the Senate, except for Rand Paul. I may have to Google that later. Yeah, look, the Democrats are losing this, and the pressure is on. I really do believe that my theory has some teeth, and that is, Chuck feels like he needs to overcorrect from what he did earlier this year. He got all the blame for giving in and allowing the continuing resolution earlier this year from his party. But here's a newsflash for Chuck. Your time in the Senate is limited anyway, because the younger radicals don't really have a use for you. Right now they do, as long as you're voting with them, because they need the numbers. But long term, and this is I could say Mitch McConnell on the right, kind of the same thing. Look, your days are numbered in the Senate. But for Chuck, he's been yesterday was block number 13. You're not. The thing is, you're not bringing anything about with these new blocks. You're not getting any energy from the rank and file that shows you're winning this, that your party is winning this.
Well, it's interesting that because we had mentioned the research that was done by the liberal group. They call themselves centrist left. Yeah. It means they're Democrats.
Yeah, well.
And, 70% of Americans in this extensive study that was done believe that the Democrats' policies are too radical, and it's everything that we've mentioned. The radical transgender movement, their obsession with identity politics, which is the racism of the Democratic Party, judging people by groups and not individuals, the border, crime, all the things that lost in the election. It's not that, they need to be more populist. And we hit this hard yesterday saying, let's be blunt. They're just throwing out words. Why are they losing?
Right.
Because on the issues, people look and go, you're insane.
Yeah.
And, this Democrat group, this liberal group said, you've got to change. You've got to be more. You've got to start embracing conservative immigration policy, which I burst out laughing at. You can't be focused on climate change. That all relates to the earlier story on Bill Gates, and then Michael Schellenberger writing that the story that we now have the evidence that all the top scientists in the world lied to the people of the world about the seas rising. They're not.
Right.
And so you look at all of that, and as I've said, I think one of the greatest things is after you always see these ebbs and flows, and you saw it after 2020, after what we call the biggest blue wave of intimidation we've ever seen.
Yeah.
To actually promote a big lie that police departments are systemically racist to hunt down and kill blacks. That was the ultimate in the liberal blue wave, because sports leagues, corporations, everybody jumped on it at that particular point. And then with it came more of the identity politics and critical race theory that whites are culturally racist to the point where it might as well be genetic. And so society must be framed that whites will always be racist, and that's how society has to be set up, which was DEI.
Yeah.
And then the radical trans movement on top of that. And then the Biden administration with the border. The border is secure. And these pictures. And you got to the point then, the censoring that was done by liberals in government, the FBI's relationship with Twitter, for example. And then everything blew up. And then Elon Musk took over Twitter, and all of a sudden podcasts are booming, and all of a sudden the liberal networks, they can't find an audience. They have to fire people because they're getting way, 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 way too radical. For example, Joy Reid out. Then on The View, you could see their visible frustration when they kept getting legal notes for saying stupid things. And they just kept getting more radical to the point now we're sitting here going, did somebody drop acid in our protein shakes? You weren't drinking coffee tonight, were you?
Yeah, I was actually earlier.
Or your coffee, my protein shake, because Barry Weiss is taking over CBS.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just...
Well, here's the thing. I drank my protein shake pretty fast. I chugged it at the beginning of the show during a break.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, oh my gosh, man, if it's spiked, I might be seeing things here
And-
pretty soon, like Epstein's article.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just like you're like, what in the heck is going on? And at the same time, Schumer, the only reason he's doing this, and everybody knows it, the only reason Schumer's doing it is because he got burned by the far left. Everything is happening.
Yes.
Everyone knows. There isn't anybody. I mean, it's as common as. Oh, I don't know. Is common. What's something that's extremely common? That rain is wet.
Mm-hmm.
And, well, some Democrat will probably
Except in Arizona.
Deny it.
In Arizona, it's a dry rain.
and everybody knows that the far left is taking over the Democrat Party. As everyone knows, that's why they're losing.
Well,
it's as crystal clear.
It makes me think that if they came together right on a deal and all of a sudden the Democratic Party decided, all right, great, we're gonna vote for the CR, and Jeffries is on board over in the House, and the party's on board, and then Schumer ends up being the Rand Paul of his party, voting no against the Democrats because he got burned so badly earlier this year.
Yeah,
he's overcompensating.
And then did you see yesterday the whole Raleigh Gaines thing with AOC?
Yeah.
Raleigh Gaines put out something about, these are the people in charge, whatever, and it was AOC. And it was AOC, Bernie.
Yeah.
And was it Jasmine Crockett? I forgot who it was. And then AOC went back, if you focused more on your athletics, then you wouldn't ended up as in 5th place. And she just got blasted. Blasted.
Yeah.
And the right loves it. The AOC, did you see where she was going crazy at the one speech over the weekend? It was just like, and I'm thinking to myself, Republicans are like, please keep this up. Jasmine
make
Crockett,
it happen.
let her talk. Let Bernie talk. Let Jasmine Crockett, AOC, and Bernie Sanders do as much as they possibly can out there because, there may be you've seen all the ex-Democrats now that are out there. You've seen it. We've seen it in our time where you might have a Republican, or somebody say, I'm a Republican, now I'm going to be Democrat. What you see now is all one-sided. It's all been one-sided the last couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got Democrats. I mean, it's got to be 10-1.
Yeah.
And maybe even a lot greater than that. And then very, very vocal about it to the point where, we're looking at it goes like the Julian Epstein thing. Like I said, we're going, are we delusional here? Is he actually writing this? But of course, we have to hear from Senator John Kennedy in all of this as to
yes, we do.
What's going on all across the board. Here we go.
Right.
The Democrats are angry. They're angry for 2 reasons. They're angry because President Trump won the election. The American people spoke. My Democratic colleagues need to just drink a big old glass of get over it and let's move on. They're mad, number 2, they're mad that the American people are mad about the shutdown. It was so needless. I voted 13 times to open government back up. The Democrats have voted 13 times to keep it shut down. They don't want to pay food stamps. They don't want to pay the military. They want to use this as leverage to gain more money to spend. Senator Schumer, my colleague, eagerly, greedily wanted to become the face of the shutdown. I was looking at a poll today of what the American people think of Senator Schumer. It was an Economist YouGov poll, which is very left of center. The American people, in the American people's opinion, Senator Schumer is he's a wet match in a dark cave.
And I don't know why, but when he said that, what did I think of? Rambo.
Yeah, exactly.
First blood
Right.
in the cave with the rats.
Exactly. Yeah, it's, but, I mean, again, I really do believe this is Schumer overcompensating.
Schumer wanted to be the face. Why? To appease the far left.
Exactly.
That's
see,
it.
I can do this. I can still do this.
Yep.
Yeah, but you're still putting cheese on raw burgers.
866-90-RED-EYE.
Brought to you by FPPF, Fuel Power Max.
Independents with carrier authority should be mindful that negotiation strength varies as the week progresses. Typically, the highest rates across major segments are paid for loads negotiated on Sundays, and the highest volume of loads for all segments is seen on Mondays. Also, the weekday that tends to be the best for flatbed negotiations, yielding the best rates. Owner-operators tend to have less negotiation strength on Tuesday, which shows the lowest weekday spread between brokers' offered rates and actual paid rates. Broker offers tend to rise by Wednesday as the end of the week is in sight. This day also seems optimal for the 3 o'clock hustle, so-called for its reliance on that afternoon time of day, when brokers are getting nervous, to improve negotiation strength. Stay mindful of this system to maximize your revenue. Owner-Operator Business 101 is provided by Overdrive's Partners in Business program. Go to overdriveonline.com to the Partners in Business section of the website for more details on this and many other topics. Brought to you by Shell Rotella, with advanced synthetic technology is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance.
Lines open for your calls. 866-90-RED-EYE on Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. I'm Gary McNamara. He's Eric Harley. Good morning. Coming up on the bottom of the hour, the whole autopen thing. As we saw, the House has gone to the Department of Justice saying, you need to look at this. You need to look at this. And, we're suggesting that all of his pardons because of the autopen should be nixed. We are in totally untested constitutional territory here. Now, if Biden was not informed and somebody did those pardons, legally they should be rescinded.
Yes.
And we'll get to that coming up here in just because really just fascinating. And plus a Scott Jennings piece of audio on that. But I want to play here Senator John Thune on with yesterday on with Fox News talking about the fact that there are some rank and file Democrats. They're having back channel conversations that wants to end this shutdown. They realize it.
Yeah.
The polling isn't going their
way.
way.
It can't go on forever.
Right. They're not winning this.
No.
But here's part of that conversation.
Well, I think there are people who are sincerely want to get this figured out.
Have they
on the
told
Democrat
you that?
side.
That they're ready? They're about ready?
There are, and of course the challenge is the Democrat leadership could care less about this, and Chuck Schumer, they're in a box. I mean, like I said, they are running scared of the far left in this country right now, and that characterizes a whole bunch of Senate Democrats too. But there are some rank and file Democrats, I believe, and we have had, as you said, back channel conversations that have been going on for some time that have intensified here of late, and hopefully that will lead to a breakthrough. But that's what it's going to take. It's going to take rank and file Democrats who organically come to the conclusion that this doesn't make sense for them, politically long term for them either. I don't think this is a winning issue when you shut the government down.
I think the juxtaposition of everything that we've heard from that, the Democrat group that came out and said, look, 70% of Democrats believe, or that 70% of Americans believe the Democrats are way out of touch.
Yeah.
I mean, where they stand on these issues are just insane. They can't let the far left control it, yet everything that's happening in the Democratic Party is the far left controlling it.
Yeah. Right.
As everybody knows, it's the wrong move, including the vast majority of Democrats believe it's the wrong move.
And they keep letting them do it.
Yeah.
There's no pressure, but I think that at some point would have to end. I just don't know what point that is.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio. from the Uniden America Studios.
And he is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Download our Red Eye Radio app today. You can listen when you choose. All right. According to the House GOP, top Biden administration officials misused executive authority and took actions without then President Joe Biden's authorization as his mental acuity declined, the House investigation found. President Biden's inner circle, this is from National Review, hid the extent of his mental decline from the American people and exercised executive authority by abusing the presidential autopen and taking advantage of a lax chain of command, according to the report released Tuesday by the House Oversight Committee. Quote, the Biden autopen presidency ranks among the greatest scandals in U.S. history as President Biden declined. His staff abused the autopen and a lax chain of command policy to affect executive actions that lack any documentation of whether they were in fact authorized. That's a quote. The committee, another quote here, the committee has found that there was in fact a cover-up of the president's cognitive decline and that there is no record demonstrating President Biden himself made all the executive decisions that were attributed to him. The Biden White House worked to conceal the extent of Biden's mental decline through scripted messaging, controlled public appearances, and limited access. Staffers controlled Biden's daily activities, appearances, and workload to prevent the public from seeing his diminished mental capacity, the report says. For the most part, Biden's staff dismissed the possibility that the American people were concerned about his mental faculties. In similar manner, Biden's staff attributed the disastrous June 2024 debate performance to a bad cold and minimized Biden's struggle on that fateful night. The Oversight Committee investigated the cover-up of Biden's mental capacity with a specific focus on the Biden administration's autopen usage at the end of his term. According to the committee, Biden officials used presidential authority and initiated executive actions without direct authorization from Biden himself, including using the autopen to sign executive orders without written approval. The panel's findings are based on 14 interviews with top Biden aides over the course of several months. High-profile former Biden aides, including former White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre and two White House chiefs of staff, spoke to the committee for the investigation. So there you go. And what they're suggesting is a lot of the actual pardons should be voided. Now, whether that will actually happen, I have no idea, because you are in totally.
Right.
I think it was, do I have the, trying to see if I have the actual comments from, I thought I had the actual comments here somewhere from Mike Johnson yesterday, but I don't see it here. I don't have it here at the moment, but I'll let you in on the debate going on at CNN yesterday between Scott Jennings and a former Democratic counsel to ICE. Here we go.
Of auto pens has existed in every presidential administration across parties. I had an auto pen when I worked at ICE.
I'm sorry, Elliot Williams?
Elliot Williams literally had an auto pen.
You were important enough to have an auto pen. I'm so impressed.
I am important, Casey. But no, and so it's a common practice.
Did you allow people to use the name Elliot Williams without your knowledge of the document or what was on the page?
I don't recall. So
I'm asking you, if you were a government official and you had an auto pen, which you did, would you let some staffer sign things in your name without reading?
Yeah, here's the question. Was my authority delegated to that person? And I think they do have the authority to do so. Laws and regulations, and I'm serious, Scott, laws and regulations.
The authority to delegate pardons and executive orders, the President of the United States can say, you unelected staffer can go sign my name on a document that I've never seen for a decision that I've never made?
Quite often, the United States Code delegates authority. So through the President of the United States, through the Attorney General, whatever else, X person can carry out a function. And certainly that could be the case.
Okay, now, where is he wrong on that?
He's wrong on that.
Before Scott Jennings answers, where is he wrong on that?
Well, because you can't delegate the authority to do these presidential things. Only the president has that authority and must be done with his authority.
And the president only has that authority and nobody else based on the Constitution, not the U.S. Code.
Right.
He's talking about U.S. law that says in certain departments you can delegate authority.
He's
and that
comparing
decision's
apples
being
to oranges.
Exactly.
Because you're talking about, he was in a department. Well, yeah, Congress had rule over that department, and there is code, there is law that is written, that allows for that level. But the Constitution is what guides the authority of the president.
Under the law, and this would be the constitutional law, if they can make the legal case, if the legal case can be made that Biden did not know about those pardons, they should be rescinded.
Yes. Yes.
Why? Not based on my opinion or your opinion, based on the Constitution. And there's a difference between the Constitution giving the president specific authority and this guy in his department where the law says you can delegate authority to somebody else, and then that person uses an autopen and you've given them the permission to delegate. The president cannot give permission to somebody else to make a decision that he has no idea what decision is being made.
Well, yeah, because the answer
on a pardon.
The answer to Jennings was this broad stroke, which was totally off base. But this it often is the case. No,
it's not.
It's not the case for the president of the United States.
So here's the response from Jennings here.
Now, Donald Trump, for instance, in his first term, pardoned like 1,600 people, and I have a hard time believing that he was aware of every single person that he was pardoning. One could make a challenge. Every president does this. Now, if it's a question about Biden's fitness for office, did he know what he was? Of course, raise that question. But I just, one, given how vast the pardon power is, and two, given how comprehensive the use of autopens are across administrations, I have a hard time seeing a legal challenge.
Nobody can be delegated the pardon power.
Yes.
It is a constitutional power.
Yes.
And I don't really think you can delegate the executive order power either, because the executive has to make the order.
Which is true. If you do an executive order, it can't come from somebody on your staff without your knowledge, which is completely a different ballgame. And he's making the case, well, Trump pardoned 1,600 people. If the list went to Trump and they said, here's the list, do you agree with it? These are the people that we want. As long as Trump saw the list and said, yep, I sign off on it, go ahead and do it, you can do it.
Right. Now, you may say he needs to go in and review each of the cases of the 1,600. Right. That's not what the Constitution says.
No. But if Biden knew nothing of it at all, and he's out of it, he's at home, looking at top secret files from his Senate days.
Right.
And they're in the White House going, well, he's not around this weekend. Let's just pardon these people and use the autopen without his permission. By law, by the Constitution, all of those pardons should be rescinded.
Right.
And so it was a pretty weak argument, wasn't it?
What is the ultimate threat? The ultimate threat is that a staffer, somebody who does not have this constitutional authority, has a few friends, or is getting something in return for making a pardon happen. A president does it, and for whatever reason they do it, they have the constitutional authority, as long as it is the president who is involved in that decision process. You can agree or disagree with it. You can debate it all day long. You might even make some good points along the way, but the Constitution allows it.
Yeah, that was pretty simple. As soon as he started on that tack that, well, doesn't matter, and then we started talking about the U.S. Code says I can you're not the president of the United States.
You're talking departmental. You're talking about your level, not the level of the top office in the country.
You're a bureaucrat, and certainly if you're allowed to delegate authority by U.S. Code as a bureaucrat, you're not the elected chief executive of the United States.
Right.
In the executive branch. It's a completely different ballgame. Now, thing is, he knew that.
Of course he did.
He's
That's
not
why
stupid.
he tried to broad stroke it.
He's a legal analyst for CNN. He knows it. He's not stupid. That shows he knew he didn't have an argument when he started on the wrong premise.
And when Jennings, in that last audio cut, corrected him on that and mentioned the Constitution, he agreed. Of course he knows this. He knows this, and he was trying to, he's trying to get his point in that, they all do it. Both sides.
Now, what the courts are going to demand for evidence of this could defeat the Republicans' attempt to do it.
That's the whole Everest that you have to climb here. Man, there's a lot of witnesses and everything else that would have to corroborate all of this, along the way, or just key witnesses in individual cases. And who are you going to get to cooperate, even though this committee did go through a great deal of interrogations, questioning of people that were on the Biden staff, are getting it to that level, the next level, in order to make something happen and it truly become actionable, is a totally different ballgame.
I did see on X yesterday people claiming that they were Republicans saying, Comer, you really haven't done anything. You're not going to be able to win this. Move on to something else. I don't think they should. Even if you don't get anything out of it, we talked about this earlier. This is something that can now be discussed.
Yep.
And this is something that the people should know. This is what we are saying the Biden administration did. And you have a strong, solid point to convince people that what the Democrats did was wrong, and the fact that they might try to do it again is something that's worth communicating to the American people, even if you don't eventually win it. Mike Johnson, I think, said, he goes, I don't know where this is going to go because the founding fathers never imagined that an executive would, the president of the United States or the executive branch would do something like this. So I don't know where it's going to go because they never fathomed that some people would do something like this.
Remember during the Obama years, I came up with this theory that the Democrats are lying so much that, and they keep lying. The play is that the opposition, you just make the opposition look like they're just saying, accusing you of lying all the time. Well, they are accusing you of lying all the time, but that's because you're lying all the time. But it just looks like they're going, oh, he lies, he lies, he lies. You come up with something this big, if you're part of this whole autopen type thing, or, a number of things. The whole Russian hoax. Well, nobody would ever believe this kind of big. Remember what the liberal activist media was talking about?
Yeah.
That the truth about the Russian hoax, as it started to come out, was the actual conspiracy theory, according to then Chuck Todd and all the liberal activists in the newsrooms everywhere. Well, that's a conspiracy theory. Well, no, that was actually on point, and we know that now. And think about the whole autopen thing.
So what you're saying is the conspiracy theory about the conspiracy theory actually was not a conspiracy theory.
Exactly. Make it so big that people go, oh, you look at these people on the right, look at what they're coming up with. Nobody would ever do this. And the autopen, the frequency that we know of how often it was used, that alone is a big, big deal.
866-90-RED-EYE.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Are you saying only the Wall Street Journal is reporting this important news?
Well, it's interesting because it happened on the gaggle. The Air Force One, the president was on his way to South Korea, and they reported, Wall Street Journal reported that he acknowledged. And I've been saying that he's really kind of toying with the liberal activist media and trolling them. But he said on Air Force One, he was asked again about a third term. And this, again, was a few hours ago as he was heading to South Korea. He said, no, if you read the Constitution, it's pretty clear. He goes, I would love to, but I can't do it. And, and it's only the Wall Street Journal is reporting it right now. Now, it was pretty late, but I don't expect the liberal activist media to report this the way they did when he was the other day, toying with them, I believe, saying, oh, yeah, no, I mean, it might happen.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.